doesn't kind of surprise you, but other elements to what they've done in terms of their consistency that has.
No, I think the results can sometimes surprise you, but it's the performance levels. A job as a manager is to look at the performance level. You've got to look at results, of course. We're not naive to results, but you've got to look at the performance levels. And I did say quite clearly after Man City, forgetting about everything else that was going on, I did say that I didn't think the team performance was a mile away. I thought we made mistakes and they smashed us on the mistakes and we're very clinical. I said the actual shape, the energy of the side, all the stats on the performance were as good as other performances we've had against some of the top sides, but we got absolutely punished for the mistakes we made. Against teams not quite with the same prowess, I felt that would deliver better, and we have done. We've still had to find moments, so there's still been tight games. So points-wise, I've been, I wouldn't say surprised, but I'm very pleased. Performance-wise, I've been even more pleased because, you can lose a game sometimes, but you're pleased with the performance. And I think, the performance levels have been really, really good, really strong, particularly with the challenges with injuries. There've been no excuses from the side. There's been no looking around wondering what these young players, have not even tasted first team football at any level, what they're doing there. It's been an acceptance of the moment in time and said, right, this is the challenge. Let's get on with it. And I think that's from myself, the staff and the players. So I've been really, really pleased with that and the mentality towards that.
You've done it also by making fewer substitutes than anybody else in the Premier League. Is that because you can't make the substitutes because of the injury problem, or is it because the players are fit enough to play full 90 minutes invariably?
Well, it's a mixture when they are fit, as in not injured. They're very fit. I know that. I've never been, as you know, from my playing days, I've never been worried about if the challenge is lots of games, then that's the challenge. So play lots of games, in my opinion. If you need to change, you change, quite obviously, which we've had to do due to injury. If we need to change games, we will do when we think it's appropriate. But there's a modern clamber to make substitutions. I think my record is pretty strong, although I don't make many. It's making effective substitutions, not just making them for the sake of it. When the other thing to give you more of a sort of view of it is, you've got to remember we're putting players out there like, say, Woody comes on the other night. Normally, you'll have had pre-season games or reserve games when you're coming out of an injured period. They haven't. These lads haven't had that. So Robbie Brady hasn't had that. Johan Gudmundsson hasn't had that. So therefore, that does, it leads to a tiny little bit of doubt when you're thinking, okay, when are they ready to give them some football? Now, Woody, we managed to sort of blend into the last couple of games. We'd be hoping to do that with Johan and Robbie too. And the rest are still injured, with Louts and Barnsley and the like. So, it's not quite as easy as knowing they're absolutely fully fit, which you normally would before they come out of an injured period. We're kind of just hoping they're fit enough to get the task done, whatever that may be, whether it's a start or whether it's off the bench.
Managers at the start of the season often say, look, we've got to do better than we did last season. You've done that already. Is the next target to do better than you've ever done in the Premier League?
Well, I think if we had the full complement of players, I'd be looking at the games we've got and I'd be expecting to get things. And that's not because I don't believe in the group we've got, of course. It just means we are still stretched. It is a fact. We are playing back-to-back games in a short space of time. There is a demand on that. So I think I'm slightly more open-minded about that, and where we can take it from now on in. I equally, in balance, would say it's our second highest total of points since we've been in the Premier League, including the time when the team was in the Premier League before my time here. So that's very pleasing with games left to go. So, it is that balance, though. I just think if we had the full complement of players where we could make them changes and more of them when needed, even if during a game, then I'd like to think we could challenge for our highest total ever. I'm not saying we can't. I just think it's slightly more tricky.
And in terms of Liverpool this weekend, Jurgen Klopp's been very nice about you this lunchtime. He said he has got massive respect for you. I don't know that's what managers do ahead of games they might lose at Anfield, but in terms of him and your relationship, is he one of those managers who although he comes from abroad, is more like a British manager than a foreign manager?
I don't think we have relationships with other managers much anymore. The foreign managers don't do that, not in a bad way, by the way. They always make it clear they don't do that in the countries they've come from very often. I'm sure if I met some of these guys socially, you'd have a beer and a chat about whatever. The respect is always there, by the way. It's not relevant for like and dislike. It's relevant to the fact that I know how difficult this job is. So do they. And maybe he's picked up. I covered the Champions League last year and I thought very complimentary about it for the right reasons. On that occasion, it was particularly Jordan Henderson, who I think's had a fantastic season and a fantastic pro, actually. And I think he possibly early season when I was heavily spun a story that I said about how they could win ugly was spun around and tried to be made a negative. It's probably the biggest positive they've ever given a manager, because he knows and I know, because of all the successes he's had, and all the managers know, by the way, the ugly games, the tight ones, the ones when you're not on song, they're the ones that win things. Because it's hard over a 38-game Premier League season, even when you are Liverpool and Man City and Man United and Chelsea and Arsenal and Tottenham, etc. It's hard to deliver week in, week out and stay at them really high performance levels. And when you're not at them high performance levels, can you find a way to win? And I think that's been the biggest difference in Liverpool this season. They found a way to win when it's been them just awkward games. And the big games, of course. They've got to win the big games. You've often got to win the big games to get the job done. Not always, but very often. So I think they've blended a team that can win in different ways. And I think that's a compliment and a sign of respect just on a management level, because I think they've done that fantastically well. And that has to be guided by someone. And it's guided by the manager, but by a fantastic group of players and a high-achieving group of players.
And an attempt to put more words into your mouth and spin more stories, are they the ultimate kind of version of Burnley in terms of what he demands from his players? Because it's very similar, isn't it? Except that he plays maybe 60, 70 million for players and you're spending 6 and 7.
No, there you go. That's taken away your spin now.
No similarities whatsoever from what you two managers demand from your players.
I think that any successful team, however you guys that success, by the way, so our season would be considered a form of success. Theirs is more obvious, success-wise, but every team has got to work hard. I mean, I was just, I've been questioning about it, a lot of that comes, that's why Burnley work hard. And they sort of say it, sometimes it's said in that strange way that sounds like it couldn't be more positive from me. I want my players to work hard. They're professional footballers. It should be a given, actually. Shouldn't be a question mark, in my opinion. So that's a big compliment for me. If people just said they're organised, they work hard, I take it. Because as long as it's successful, then that's a form of finding success. I think all top teams work hard. I remember my favourite era of management and teams has been Man United, not because of Sir Alex, just as a person who's been very kind to me, but also the fact that they had that underlying underbelly of giving everything, and they'd give everything to the last breath of a game to win things and win titles and win games, etc., etc. And that has to come through hard work and a belief in hard work and a culture of hard work. So I think Liverpool have applied that all season. They've got players who can play without doubt. When they're on fire, they're superb to watch and what they do. But they will graft when they need to, and all the top teams do it. Man City certainly do it. They're another side that do it. And I think you have to have that as an underlying trait of a successful side.
And they're aiming to go 100% at home in the Premier League. And Anfield is one of those kind of intimidating places. Is it less intimidating, do you think, when there's no one there?
No, not necessarily. I mean, you've still got very good players in front of you, top players, in fact, some of them. They look hungry to me. They look like they want to achieve other markers in the season. So no, I don't think. I think it is obviously more so when there's a full house there. But I'm saying it's still not an easy task whether there's a full house there or not. I mean, Man City had that real edge to them when we played them, and the real sharpness to them in their game. I can't presuppose anything other than Liverpool will be ready to play.
I guess no